The universe is countless billions years old. The Earth itself is just over 4.5 billion years old as well. Humanity has only been around for about 200,000 years. That's not even a blink in the whole grand scheme of things. If the human race just died, we were wiped out, never to be seen again, the universe would keep on turning. It wouldn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. The Earth would keep spinning. In fact, the Earth probably be doing a bit better than it is right now with global warming and climate change and all that. And that's the entirety of the human race. So what's even one life? Why are we here? What is this whole thing, this grand experiment, this entire existence even mean? What is it worth? These are very major, lofty goals and thoughts and ideologies spelled out in existentialism. You know, the whole philosophy of trying to quantify or qualify or understand and put a value to the meaning of life. And more often than not, we reach nihilism. Nihilism is a philosophical belief in which it states that life has no inherent value. Life has absolutely no meaning. Our lives, our existence, our species is completely insignificant in the grand scheme of things. The universe won't even blink if we vanish. And there are several ways you can take this. You can fall into a period of existential dread and freak out and get sad about it, or there's a sense of freedom to it as well, depending on how you view this existential nightmare of the inherent valuelessness of human existence. That cosmic horror that looms over us all, that we fill our lives with to try to put off and ignore how tiny and microscopic we are compared to the vastness of the entirety of an ancient, unfathomable universe. That's a lot of what Samuel Beckett writes about. Now, I hope you're watching this video before you read Endgame or view the play, which I will also link to as well. Because this one is a doozy. This is probably going to be the most complicated, complex, weirdest thing you will read in this class and probably any other class that you take for the rest of your college career. It's not meant to be taken literally. Samuel Beckett was a renowned poet, author, and dramatist. He is most famous for a play known as Waiting for Godot. Waiting for Godot and its follow-up, Endgame, Fin de Partie, is part of something called the theater of the absurd. Absurdism is one of the main things that Samuel Beckett concerned almost all of his writings about. Take from this quote from a small poem he wrote: "Void, nothing else. Contemplate that. Not another word. Home at last. Gently, gently. Modern humanity is at home in its homelessness." In Waiting for Godot, the characters on stage are waiting for the titular Godot to show up. Spoiler alert, he never does. It's a play about two people waiting for something that they know will probably never happen. It's kind of like life, isn't it? Life is complex. Life is absurd. And that's what theater absurd is all about. The absurdity of human existence. It takes a lot from the myth of Sisyphus in Greek mythology, where Sisyphus was condemned in Hades Sorry, Hades is a very big place. In Tartarus, which is the hell part of Hades, the punishment part of Hades, Sisyphus was condemned to push a boulder up a steep mountain for all eternity. And once he reached the top of the mountain, the boulder would fall, and he'd have to climb back down and start pushing it over and over again for all of eternity. What is hell? A lot of ancient philosophers, I think Aristotle even said, the ultimate hell for humanity, the worst hell for living conscious being. Do you know what it is? True hell is boredom. Boredom. Because us humans, we are too smart for our own good. Our brains are too big for how small of a creature we actually are. Our brains are our greatest gift and our ultimate curse. We get bored so easily. But the one way around that, the one way to fight hell, the one way to escape from hell, according to ancient philosophers, is imagination. And that is one of the main things about nihilism, existentialism, and theater of the absurd. This is why things get weird in this play, because it's meant to be absurdist, not just in the it makes no sense aspect, but also absurd with a capital A. Humanity is inherently absurd. We know our lives are meaningless in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the universe, but we persist anyway. And there's something wonderful and beautiful in that, which is why I said there are two ways to think about nihilism. There are two ways to react to life is meaningless. Life has no value. Our life in particular, the universe is going to keep spinning. It'll take 2 generations, 75 to 100 years after our death, for us to be completely and absolutely forgotten. Now, you can either sit down and cry about that, or you can be freed by that. Most people think about nihilism as, oh no, nothing in life matters. When in reality, it's like, you know what? Nothing matters. Party. Whatever. Cool. Go with it. That's what Sam Beckett, in all of his plays, writes about. That's the true meaning of existentialism and the absurd. It's fighting back against nihilism. It's knowing that life has no meaning until you give it a meaning. When I first started teaching this class several years ago, and I do my whole class introduction thing where I say, hey, what do you want to know about me? What do you know about this class? I will let you ask any question that you want from me. Nothing on the table, no matter how weird it is. Hit me with a question and I'll answer it to either assuage your curiosities or concerns about the class. And one student straight asked, what's the meaning of life? And I said, without even blinking or hesitating, life has absolutely zero meaning until you give it one. Most of us just exist without actually moving forward, without even thinking about it. We don't contemplate the universe or the whole grand cosmic order or imbalance or our insignificance, because we let ourselves be distracted by simplistic things without understanding the full, true grasp of the complex, unfathomable, cold, and indifferent universe. And when we do, most people actually get sad and freak out and break down about it. But if you understand that life is valueless, life has no meaning, that frees you up to actually start making meaning yourself. So what if we're going to be forgotten in 200 years? It's not going to be your problem in 200 years. You'll be dead and gone. That's not your problem anymore. Do what you can with the time you have now. Do what you can to make this life significant to yourself. And let the universe do what it wants. Because trust me, you have no power to stop the planet from turning, or the stars from colliding. Hell, in 52 billion years, give or take an eon, the Earth's not even going to be here anyway. The sun will swell up into a red giant and consume almost half of our solar system. Why fret about that? Why fret about what people will remember you by? Why fret about, does life have meaning? Make a meaning. The characters in Endgame are weird because they're not real people. Everything in this one-act play is symbolism. We have, Ham, the domineering, mean-spirited, cruel master, to Clove. We have the man who is blind, who can only sit and can never stand up and walk. We have the man with a broken leg and hip who cannot sit, can only stand and walk or lay down. And we have the two people without legs, the two older people who are relegated to living in a dustbin for the rest of their existence. And the house, there's a reason why it's the only scene in the play. This house is it. This house is the entire world. These four characters represent all of humanity. The older, dying generation facing the end of their life, the privileged clinging on to what little power they have, no matter how insignificant it is, the young and downtrodden looking for an escape. That's all of what these people represent. Keep that in mind when you read the excerpts from this textbook or when you watch the play, which is right below this link in eCourses. I'm posting this video first, and then I'm posting a link to the full play. Now, if we were watching this in a real theater, they break the fourth wall a lot. Anytime that Clove is looking out the window with a telescope or looking at the rest of the world, in the theater, he's looking at the audience. It gets a bit meta in that regard. But that's one stage direction that you have to remember when you are reading this play. When he's looking at the outside world and seeing it empty, he's looking at us, the audience. This whole play is one small self-contained universe. It's all about people either distracting themselves and waiting to die, people clinging on to life and not wanting change, and people who are seeking change and eventually find the courage to take it on their own. This entire play is a criticism about humanity, about our lack of value, our lack of meaning in the universe, and our ability to create meaning for ourselves. If only we are aware of the circumstances of our birth, of our nature, and of our universe. So I hate people want to tell you that life right now has no meaning, has no purpose, has no significance, has no value. But if you make one, then it does. But you have to be aware of the problem first before you can fix it. So I know we're getting a little really existential and really crazy and philosophical out there, but I think we can have some fun with this. And I really, really cannot wait to hear your ideas and thoughts on this. In fact, I'm going to one step further. If you're watching this in a non-coronavirus hellscape world, you can just skip to the end of this video because it's done. But for the class I'm recording this for right now, we're going to go beyond just having the journal that we would normally have a response to this play. I'm actually going to post a discussion forum. I want you to talk about the crazy, weird ideas and the absurd existential philosophies going on right now, both in this discussion, in this play, and what you're thinking right now. What is your reaction to this video? I want to know. Because I know it's out there, and I know I'm asking you for a lot to contemplate the entirety of your existence in a cold, unfeeling universe. But hey, now's a good time to start, especially since we're in lockdown. Why not contemplate the entire nature of the universe and humanity's place in it, or lack thereof? So, you will never know what's in my coffee mugs, by the way. Think hard, think long. I'm extending the deadline a little bit for this journal and discussion post, and yeah, let's get philosophical.